Welcome to the English Mystic Podcast. I'm your host, English Mystic, Dragon Shaman, Spirit Whisperer, and Mr. Explorer of all things seen and unseen. You're tuning in to a very special series honouring the epic Dragon Thunder Summit 2025, a worldwide gathering of visionaries, dragon channels, energy workers and soul-shifting guides. The summit brought together 36 incredible speakers from across the world, each sharing their unique gifts, wisdom and connection with the Dragon Realms. In this podcast series, we're diving deep, one episode at a time, into the essence of each speaker, their transmission, their gifts, and all the healing and awakening and dragon connections they've brought forward. To explore more about each speaker or to access the full summit replays, visit www.dragonthunder2025.com. Now breathe deep, call in your dragons, and let's step through the portal together. Our next speaker is Kieron Morgan. He shares insights into the cyclical nature of the dragon world and its interaction with humans, especially emphasizing the importance of embracing chaos and trusting oneself. He will introduce his new Dragon Oracle deck, which will be released probably in October this year, and he shares with us some readings, and he also offers guidance on personal growth and spiritual development. He's also going to be discussing the concept of soul fragment retrieval and highlighting a recent shift where fragments from all lifetimes are being retrieved. And he encourages us to trust our intuition in our healing practices.
So Kieron, then, I had the pleasure last year of introducing you, so I'm introducing you again. You're a teacher, alchemist and brother of dragons. You've had over 20 years experience in the path, and during this time Kieron has channeled the Pendragon Reiki, and he's also been doing workshops at the Psychic College of London as well. So today Kieron is going to be sharing a discussion about the interaction of the world, dragons and humans. So thank you, Kieron. Hand over to you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. I'm changing my program slightly. I'm going to be talking about and shamelessly plug in my Dragon Rune Oracle deck, which is finally manifesting out into the world. I wasn't sure whether it was going to or not, so that's why I gave the original title. So, yeah, but it's here. Thank you very much. Yes, it's here and it's live and it exists. Look, you'll be stared at by a dragon's eye, which will disappear into the mist. Yes, so thank you, Nicola, and thanks, Kev, as always, for your organisation and getting things going. It's an incredible task that you would decide to undertake or have been given by the Dragon Collective. So huge gratitude for that, as always. And I hope maybe one day we'll actually manage to get to meet up in person and have a good chat about all things dragon, because we don't live that far apart. Yes, so the world of the dragons and interaction with humans, and it does relate to the runes, because the Dragon Rune deck, which was brought forward originally by a guy called Isendon Goldwing probably 20 years ago now, I got hold of then and started to work with it and was using it as a divination system. I love it so much, I've got them tattooed on me. I've got most of the set. So I've got lots and lots of tattoos. So I'm getting to the stage now where people could just do a reading with me by pointing at various parts of my arms. I think would be, what does that one do and what's that one doing? When I'm talking to people, I can show them the symbols because I've got them on me. But the world of dragons that was revealed as I was working with them for such a long time was really interesting, because they have this cyclical nature of their sort of world and how it evolves and how it comes about. So I'm going to talk through that a little bit. And each one of the rune cards represents a part on that journey and some of the clans of dragons. So I'm going to talk through that a little bit, and then in preparation, people, I'm going to be with all the time that's left, I'm going to do little mini readings for people, little 1-card mini readings. So if you have a question or thought or something that you'd like to go, when we sort of wave the flag for go, then drop a message, and this is going to hopefully you're going to get involved in that, because it'd be nice. Otherwise, it's just going to be me doing a reading for Kev, I think, which might be interesting, but not entirely as exciting as it would be if you were having one for yourself. So the world of dragons, as I understand it, as I said, is cyclical in nature. It shifts and moves, and is based around this this background behind me of Ratanan. Ratanan is the first card, and I put all the cards in order. So I really hope that I got it right. Otherwise, it's going to be slightly embarrassing, isn't it? I've checked it through 3 times, so I'm hoping it's going to be all right. Otherwise, I'm going to be a very poor man's Dragony Paul Daniels. Ratanan is a swirling mist of infinite possibility. It's this swirling mist behind me that I have in my background, and something that now is a background to all of my work. Really, it's a real deep energy. It's connected to the Higgs boson field, I think, or the field of infinite potential, or the void, or the tapestry of life, the web of the weird, whichever way you like to look at it. It is that energy that underpins the world around us, or the different dimensional spaces. It's where everything can come from and return to. And as Fiona was saying before about manifestation, and being able to do that, one of the practices that I try to do is to do exactly the same thing as you were saying, visualize those things, having them already. And I like to lean into Ratanan, grab something and then pull it back out. It's quite handy to be able to do that, to be able to manifest. If I want to be able to manifest the dragon, for example, then it's quite a handy thing to be able to do. So when we are ourselves looking at our path and our way forwards and what we want to achieve, then being able to visualize this energy all around us, because it's here, and a sea of untapped potential. Anything that we are worthy of these things. We are allowed to have these things, as Fiona was saying, as everybody will say. We're allowed to be happy. We're allowed, and we need to be happy and high vibrational and excited and joyful. And we can lose sight of that, especially in our world at the moment. And I, as I said, was listening to Fiona. I need to practice what she preaches and what we preach, because I get lost in that lower vibrational angst and anxiety and sadness. So, but reaching into those spaces and places can really help us to manifest things. This idea of the void and this space it comes from many different creation myths, and in lots of those, there's a dragon involved, a female dragon regularly. Tiamat from Babylonian mythology is one of my favorites, and her card is Drakane, which is here, and it kind of reflects the as above, so below. You can see those two shapes, the Y shapes, as above, so below, and in the center is a kind of dragon's eye shape. It represents that balance between masculine and feminine energy, and even though she was a dragony goddess, she fought the freshwater, a battle against a god called Marduk. She laid down her life and became the land, and her breath is this Ratanan, this infinite potential. The dragon's breath is an incredibly powerful tool to help to dissolve the world around us of those things that we don't need anymore, and to be able to really manifest that path that we need before us. And those of you that remember back into the 70s with the film Excalibur, there's a lovely example of the Merlin the magician in his beautiful silver headdress calling to the dragon's breath with the magical incarnation Ananadraku Thespetud Dochiel Diende. He draws the dragon's breath and he helps to glamorize the king so that he can shapeshift and change his face and have his wicked way with the Duchess of Cornwall, I think it was, something like that. From which Arthur then was spawned and became obviously that whole Arthurian myth and legend. In the rune set, I have Tiamat's rune. It's like Odin's eye. Okay, there's no symbol there. It's not a typo. There's no symbol, because this space is to trust ourselves. And again, something that Fiona was talking about: trust that we are worthy, we are ready, we are enough, we are able, and we deserve these things. And again, it's something difficult to do, but the dragons can really help us. As a guiding force, as a dragon familiar force, like a guardian angel, but with dragony wings, or the collective of the dragons to help lift us up and carry us up into the higher echelons of our frequencies when we can't hold ourselves up as well. They can really help to support us and to remind us, to be joyful and have fun. I took the dog for a walk this morning before it got too hot, and I was blessed by lots of butterflies and bees walking down the path where I was, flying around me, and a dragonfly was flying around. A lovely, beautiful, big green dragonfly, which is a lovely sign for me that they're here and they're present and they're supporting in that work. And I've always tried to be an advocate for not losing that childlike sense of wonder when we see these things. I'm a big fan of the cricket, and the cricket was stopped a couple of days ago because there was a swarm of ladybirds that invaded the pitch and got all over the batsman. And I think that's hilarious. I think it's wonderful that in our modern age, with so much technology, then some big, huge sporting event can be completely shut down for 10 minutes just because some teeny tiny ladybirds decide to fly around. I think that's fantastic. And those signs and symbols and those omens and portents are always there to help us. It's whether we can see them and whether we can remember to see them. And it's whether we can see them with childlike joy and beauty. I never get bored of seeing a bird of prey fly over, or the shapes of the clouds in the sky, or the weather as it changes. So it's about remembering that. This swirling mist and energy then, a chaotic misty dream. And in the world of dragons, we have lots of words which people are scared of: chaos and mist and fire and flames and challenges. And we can kind of be taught that those are bad things, but we've learned far more from challenging and failing and trying again than we do from just sailing through the world. I used to work in schools, and school has become a place where you're not allowed to fail. And as teachers, you get told off for letting pupils fail in any way, shape, or form. But we learn far more from that. As long as it's not a crippling failure that just stops us achieving anything, then there's lots to be learned. And in again, with sport and with business, they talk about opportunities of learning. The failure isn't a failure; it's an opportunity to learn and to move on and move forward, so we can have those in our lives. And this challenge comes in the form of this card here, Satahan, which looks a little bit like an arrowhead or the top of a spear, because we have to fight a little bit for what we want. It's known as the hurricane's dance, for that swirl, and we can feel in these times where we're swirling around, getting a little bit lost. And this is part of the manifestation, to sort of make up your mind about who you are, what you want, and the dragons do the same thing. It reminds me a little bit of the TV show way back in the day called Runaround with Mike Reed. I don't know if anybody remembers that. There's a whole group of kids that had to be asked questions, and they had these big light up sections that they had to run to, and if they all answered A, they'd run towards answer A, and then there'd be one kid that was over there and the answer D, and he'd be standing there on his own, and then he got a chance to run around, and Mike Reed would shout, "Run around now," and he'd decide whether he had to move or not, or everybody else would move over to him. And it was a bit chaotic, but we have that ourselves to have that opportunity in that world. As the energies get heavier, a little bit heavier, there's a kind of download of information with Ihanan. And Ihanan is a dream dancing, and that's very much, as we were talking before, about dream manifestation, manifesting through our thoughts and dreams and our hopes. And the dragons then try to work and break off into forming groups and pairs, or to focus on specific areas, the clans of dragons. And this action is that runaround point. This is called Athanan, which looks a little bit like a dragon flying through the sky, or an aeroplane, depending on your weight. I like to think of them as dragons. Obviously, I'm not Kieron, the brother of aeroplanes. I'm the brother of dragons. I think the brother of aeroplanes wouldn't go down so well as a business name or title. I don't think that would be great. We have a group of different elemental or clans of dragons now. I'll run through these quite quickly. The Red Chasm clan, which is Li dragons. Then we have Li'an, which is the Light clan of dragons. Moving on to Liwa'en, the Darkness clan. And the idea of light and darkness, of fire and challenges, is something that's very difficult. And on our spiritual path, or in kind of organized religions, we're taught that we can't go into the shadows ourselves, or shouldn't go into the shadows ourselves. that we should only look to aim up there through the medium of somebody else helping us. But in my world, and the path of the shaman or the path of the dragons, in my experience, is that they can help us go into these spaces and places. So if you feel lost and alone, and you're doing some of that shadow work, working on those emotions, that low vibration, that trauma, which is important to understand and work through, then these types of dragons can really help us on that journey as protectors, as well as guardians and guides, to shine light into those dark areas and places, to really help us. And I found them a huge help when this system came through to me in the Dragon's Call that goes with my Pendragon Reiki system. It's made a big difference to me, because I've always been energetic, up and down. I'm very sensitive, lots of trauma, lots of things to work through. But it gave me a platform, a kind of cocoon in that chaos and that wilderness, to be able to really get to grips and to understand myself and those things, and to kind of lean into that work. The next one is the Firestorm clan, Maheran, which looks a little bit like a set of antlers. And part of that is that connection to the divine, to remember that we are divine beings. We have that soul seed, that spark of energy and light, and we can carry that with us, whether it's on flying on the backs of the dragons or the old gods or the new, whatever it is. We have that right to be happy, to be joyful, to be peaceful, and to find some peace and joy. Next one is Ma, the Ma dragons, the Rolling Thunder clan. And thunder and storms, again, is something that people can find challenging and negative. But storms are great in my world, because they clear the energy, the heat, the oppression. I would happily sacrifice one of my toes for a thunderstorm today. We've had a week of heat wave, and we've had no rain for what seems like several thousand years. And I would dearly love a storm. It clears the air. The air after a storm is cleansed and clear, and it's fresh and full of ozone and goodness. And for us in our lives, storms can be seen as challenging and negative, but they can often clear away those things that need to be cleared, like the tower card in the tarot, things that need to be cleared and let go and released. And as Kev beautifully says there, with the storm comes the rainbows, often a sign from the divine that everything is going to be okay, a passageway, a pathway to a brighter horizon, to some sunshine in the future. Now, we shouldn't have favorites, so I'm not going to tell all of the other dragons that I have a favorite, but this is my favorite. Ninathan, the clan of dragons, connected with the green, connected with nature, connected with everything that grows and moves. So when Ninathan comes up in a reading, you get yourself out into nature, get yourself out in the forest, get your bare feet on the grass, and feel that connection to Mother Earth. Send some roots down into the earth, because the stronger our roots, the stronger and more deep that we connect with Mother Earth and with ourselves, the higher we can grow and move. You don't see any massive, huge pine trees with teeny tiny, giant redwoods with teeny tiny roots. We have to have roots that go so deeply down into the ground that we can reach high into the skies. Next on the list then is Ra dragons. Ra are the dragons of the ocean. And they are about the deep emotional feelings and connecting with those and understanding those, going down into the depths of those parts of ourselves that we can work with. And the opposite to those is Tha'an, the white White Mountain Dragon Clan, the higher realms of ourselves, that divine part, sitting on the mountaintop in a loincloth, being at one with yourself and the universe. It doesn't have to be a loincloth. Other cloths are available. Then we move on to Weathan, another clan of dragons. Here, I'm trying to read these backwards on my screen because I'm not clever enough to read them before I put them up. I'm overexcited. Connected with the crystals. The crystal divas, the crystal kingdoms. The dragons work in all spheres of consciousness. We're not restricted just to earth or air or fire. Water dragons as our familiars. They can connect with everything. They connect with the divas that are connected with the trees or the plants or the crystal kingdoms as well. They can help us to, as a bridge between those different realms, to be able to create a little energy vortices so that we can connect and work with them. If you want to communicate with the green, if you want to communicate with the crystals, with the elements, then the dragons can be great help in that work as well. So the dragons get into these clans, and they're like new kids when they get into big school. They're not really sure where they're going or what they're doing. And we can feel the same in our lives at the sort of teenage years, or when we're off to choosing which A levels we're going to do, or go off to university, or which jobs we want to have when we finished. And that time is a time called Shan, which is the sort of crossroads that we can see. It's also represented by the wand, firing off energy in all directions, not really sure where we're going. And teenage years are kind of like that. We have lots of ideas and thoughts about where we're going and what we're going to do, and where we might be. And this can be chaotic. And again, this is my. It'll be no surprise to anyone that this is my dragon familiar's name, Dagoma. It's the tainted storm. It's chaos. It is yeah. And I laughingly joke to people that only spends any time with me. If you get to know me, spend time with me, your life will change. And people have laughed. My now wife laughed. Oh no, everything will be fine. She was working up in the city in finance, and now she's a sound healing therapist, and we live in Somerset. So it's only been a couple of years down the road, everything has changed. Change is something that we are scared of, or can be scared of in our world, but it's really important to recognize that, and to move on and move forwards, and to celebrate those things that have happened, not to hold on to things too much. Or to people, it's all part of this process. Everything changes and moves. Even if when we're at our most peaceful and kind and calm, and we're one with the universe, I can just see out the corner of my eye my wife sitting on a little swing seat in our garden, basking in the sunshine with the dog, and just absolutely at peace and lovely. And everything feels very peaceful for her. At this particular moment, we're sitting on a rock, which is spiraling and swirling through space at 70,000 kilometers an hour, rotating around what is the equivalent of 100 million nuclear bombs all going off at the same time, which is our sun. Our cells are changing and cleansing and clearing and being broken down and reborn all the time. So there's huge amounts of chaos all around us, but it feels very peaceful to be in it, because we accept those parts of it. And the acceptance of chaos is something that we should try to embrace a little more, even though we've been taught for generations to kind of move away and to have a very organized kind of Victorian pigeonholed lifestyle. I have always joked that I'm too big to fit in a pigeonhole. I don't do it very well. They should make them, if they were dragon holes instead of pigeonholes, I'm sure I'd be fine, but pigeonholes are just too small. Where are we now? Just yes, a kind of challenge, a dance of blades to fight for what we believe. The Beastie Boys had to fight for your right to party. The dragons have to fight for your right to move forwards in a positive way. The dance of blades to fight for what you believe in, for what you truly mean, for what you truly need, for the heart center, from your higher heart, to see where you're going. And that leads to a time of kigos, of balance. The scales there a little balanced. And it is one of the great ironies of my life that I'm a Kieron, so K should be about balance. And I love balance, and I teach about balance, but my life is absolute chaos. And I have to lean into that. And through balance can only really be achieved through chaos. When we walk forwards, when we move on our path physically, we go for a point of balance when our feet are still. We go then to imbalance when we put a foot forwards. Then we're balanced again, then we are imbalanced, and we're balanced again, imbalanced. We have to do that continually as a physical walk or a run. And we need to do that on our own spiritual pathways as well. I didn't quite see what the little comment was there, Kev, that you stuck up. But I'm sure it was something wildly and deeply meaningful and to do with balance. When we've gone through these things a little bit, we then can become a Thenrathi, which is a strong leader, somebody that can help other people in this movement. We can help ourselves. We can be kind of happy in our own skin and who we are. People get scared of that. They get scared of especially the divine feminine and women who move into that stage, whether that be as a sort of symbolic gesture as the crone. The crone is strong and powerful. She knows herself. She doesn't take any messing around from anyone. She speaks her truth. And it doesn't have to be the physical, it doesn't have to be old. It means to know yourself, to understand yourself, to be powerful and strong. Flowing wisdom then comes with Shoran. This looks a little bit like the old British rail. This is the age of the train symbol, to be able to move forwards. But the things are linked forward. If you know who you were in past lives or have been, or what you've been through, then you can move on and move forwards. And that's past life connection of who we were moves to who we are. This is another sign which I find really interesting. The sort of sister of this is Shoran, and this is a mathematical symbol which does not equal. And we think of equations of needing to be balanced. Books need to be balanced to be equal, to be positive, to be finished and finite. But our world needs to not be equal. We need high pressure and low pressure so that the weather will change and things will shift and move. We need times when we can move forward dynamically and other times when we need to sit and allow things to happen. That masculine energy, which is dynamic and creating and making things happen, and the feminine energy, which is holding space and allowing things to happen. And it happens for me back to my time working in the theatre, when I would be working very hard dynamically to create a space where other people can then create the magic of theatre. So it would be being a stage manager and a set builder would be dynamic because you're creating, but then holding space so that magic can happen on the stage. And we can do that for ourselves, and we do that for other people, which is a great gift. A time of bliss and balance then with none, and a partnership with ourselves. Know yourself and understand who you are. Not just a partnership with masculine, feminine energy, or somebody that you love, and a partnership from a loving perspective, a physical perspective, but knowing who you are and being solid and grounded in your life and your world. And there's a band of others still fighting, Ayanali, and this has the upwards pointing arrow, which is like Tyr, the warrior's rune, the spiritual warrior, to be able to still fight on and move forwards. Tyr himself sacrificed part of himself in the great battle with Fenrir the wolf, who was released by Loki to try and cause Ragnarok, and he sacrificed a little part of himself so that that Fenrir could be captured. And sometimes we have to sacrifice part of ourselves for the greater good. And sometimes we'll take that on knowingly and happily to sacrifice that as well. A bond of knowing and beauty is Drakanael. This is about balance and peace. We have the Tewa's symbol of balance in the square and the partnership of Gibo, the Viking warrior rune. To be able to fly free and enlightened and see and understand that these things will not last and they will shift and change, and the wheel of time moves and moves around is a cloud cycle of Takaya. To be free and understanding, to know that the wheel of life changes and shifts and moves all the time, and we can step on and off the merry-go-round, and more we understand it, the alchemical principles of shifting and moving, of dissolution and recalibration happen all the time. The experience, knowing and enlightening, know that it can't last, is a state of Abanan, which is a time when we turn inwards. This again is another couple of runes. We have the East rune, the straight line that comes down, and Suelo, which is a rune of the lightning strike and inspiration. So sometimes we need to take a little time for ourselves in stillness and quiet and peace to then be inspired to move on and move forwards. And we come round towards the end of this, and the karmic lessons are dealt, and we get to the end of this this go around the merry-go-round with Zukaya. The end, the little hourglass in the center there, coming to the end of the cycle, knowing that it's all coming around and it's all done. We finished. That doesn't mean the end of life. It means an end of a cycle of being, of understanding. And when we look back upon our lives as we get a little bit older, we can see these cycles and these patterns. And I'm a Pisces, so I'm hoping that there's some planetary shifting and shenanigans that means that I'm coming to the end of a cycle of challenge, personally and emotionally, and growth as well, to move into a time of kind of balance and peace and moving forwards. But ultimately, all spirals and swirls, it comes back to Ratanan, back to this chaos dream, the fog dream, back to the infinite potential of life. That's the world of the runes. That's the world of the dragons as I see it. And I know other people have their rune sets and cards. Kev's got his as well. And I haven't had a chance to really get to know those, but I'm hoping that there's parallels and insight and understanding, and these two things overlap. When Fiona was talking and there was a bit of draconic language there, I recognized lots of that from the languages sometimes that is channeled through me. So it's good to know that although we are different people, we're connecting to that same energy, and the information and the wisdom flows through and on and with us. All right. I'm just going to time check to see how I'm doing. Wow. Okay. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. I'm not very good at blowing my own trumpet. Sometimes I don't even know that I have a trumpet. I imagine myself as just as Baldric with a little triangle goes ting, rather than a full-blown trumpet ensemble. But this rune deck has oh, thanks for that, Nicola. That's lovely. Some trumpets and kevs for some parts. It's been a long time in the making, this, and actually finding something, getting out in the world and actually producing a thing. I went to this bookshop in Glastonbury. I do some readings and healing out of, and I gave this to Keith, and he went, "Oh, look, you did a thing, and it exists." And this is the first thing that really, thanks, Naomi. That's really kind to say. It's beautiful. It's the first thing that I've done that I've actually finished, because I'm not very good at finishing things. I'm very good at starting things and having lots of great ideas, but I haven't actually finished anything. So we're going to scooch then into the little readings for people, if that's all right, with Nicola and with Kev. We can. Oh yes, Kev is asking from the bottom. Oh, yes. They are going to be out in the next couple of months, in October, hopefully. There's pre-orders available through Cross Crow Books, and the thing is that, as ever with everything with this, with the lovely Donald Trumpster, bless his little furry face, all the stuff is produced in China through an American publishing house. So there's a lot of chaos and lunacy that's going along with the tariffs and who's going where and what's doing what. So it's all very much up in the air. So hopefully it'll be landing soon. I've got preview copies and I'm holding very tightly onto those. So yeah, so they will be out in the world and they will be out in good time. And I'm sure I'll be plastering social media with all of that information as it comes through. So you can follow me on Brother of Dragons on Facebook and Instagram and that type of thing if you want to see. That's not me trying to get more followers. That's just if you're interested in that information, that'll be where it is. There's a big connection with the designs as well, as you may have noticed, with the runes from the Viking mythology and belief system. So there's a bit of an overlap there. So there's some similarities with those ideas and thoughts. Alrighty, so somebody want to wave a hand or stick a note question in the questions or chats about a question you might have. Now, there's a proviso with this, and I'm just going to read what it says on the back of the box before we get to actually doing a reading. We need to take a second to do this. And when we get to the end of that, then Monica, bless, has a question. So I think she's volunteered to go first. So here's a thought for you. Imagine yourself on a quest to find the answer to your most burning question. You're undertaking a challenging and perilous journey to an ancient cave where the all-knowing dragon lives. You move slowly, yet purposefully, to the mouth of the cave. Dreich, Dreich you call. And upon hearing movement from within, what do you ask of me? A booming voice responds. So, what would you ask the dragon? Which questions do you really want the answers to? Remember, the dragons don't waste time on trivialities. This is a chance to ask big questions. So think hard and ask wisely. Some people, as when I've been doing readings a long time, have asked questions such as, should I buy my ready meals from Marks and Spencer's, or is it okay to get them from Sainsbury's? I mean, sure, I'm sure it's wildly important, but sorry, I'm just laughing because there's somebody sticking the tongue out at me. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, so yeah, not a deep spiritual question as far as I could work out, but I'm sure it's very important. But I'm not entirely sure if I'd knocked on the mouth of a dragon's cave and asked them if which ready meals I should eat. They're going to be very happy about about the answers. It was a good. That made me laugh. Right. So Monica, I think, was up with questions. Would you like to? If you want to unmute and ask, then that's grand. If that's all right with everybody else, I'm quite happy to do that with her.
The pitch sound is not so red. Can you hear me okay?
I can just about hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, actually, I just I saw myself wearing a cloak and walking on this path towards a mountain in the clouds. And my question was, what am I wearing? But my actual question is, uh, I wanted to open to the wisdom of the dragons and actually not ask, but how can I open to my fuller self? Thanks.
Open to your fuller self. Okay. When we connect with our dragon familiar, they are a guardian and guide, and that we're not the way that we see dragons, the way that we feel them, the way that we experience them is through our consciousness. So we may see a specific dragon, like a water dragon or a fire dragon for our familiar. That doesn't mean that we can only work with those realms. They are a gateway to that whole world, as far as I understand it. So they can help us to move across that rainbow into different spheres of consciousness, into the different realms that we need to go in. Trust is important. I mean, if you imagine standing on top of a hillside or mountainside and calling to a dragon, and then jumping on their back, it's a little bit like getting an Uber in the middle of the night. You've got to be, pretty sure that you're going to get to where you need to go. But you need to trust that process and trust yourself. And the card that comes up for you, Monica, is Thenrathi. Thenrathi is the strong leader. The Thenrathi is all about trusting yourself. So wearing that cloak may be a badge of office. It may be that you, have had that strength and that power that you need to believe in more and understand. It talks about a time of order and to be the champion. And it's the champion of yourself in this case. It's about belief and to really believe that you are strong enough and powerful enough and worthy of doing the right things. A friend of mine gave me some most incredible advice I was talking to him about, probably it was about 30 years ago, about writing a play at the time. And I sent him a message. He's a well-known playwright and director. And I dropped him a message and said, I'm thinking of writing a play. Can you give me any advice? And he said, the advice was really simple. If you want to write something, write it. If you want to do something, do it. Because you can iron out the kinks later on. And I put this into all of the work that I used to do with students in drama. If you want to create something, if you want to do something, then do it. And try it, and try not to be afraid of failure. There's a little thing that I saw yesterday with somebody saying, if you want to fly, then you need to leap off. You need to jump off the cliff. And they say, well, what if you fall? And the answer is, well, what if you fly? And so we have to take those risks. We have to try. But the Thenrathi, the strong leadership, is about believing in yourself and trusting that process and trusting yourself in that process. Does that make any sense, Monica?
Yes, and I think it will just help me with the next steps.
Excellent. Well, that's good.
Yes.
I'm taking that as a win. Was that right? Bing. Big thumbs up. Marvelous. Thank you very much, Monica. Anybody else would like to do that? Wave a hand, do something. If not, I'm just going to start doing readings for random people that I'm seeing on the screen. No one, nothing. All right. I'm going to pick Naomi, Stellar Wellness. I'm going to pick a card for you, okay? Because I saw you. I'm assuming that's somebody that is a sibling, a child of yours that was just making silly faces at me down the camera, which is very lovely and made me laugh very much. So, and it's a big smile. Here's a little card for you. This is Nanan. This is about conjoining. It's about coming together, about balance, past life connections. So this card talks of doing some work on your past lives and knowing who you were. Because that can really help you with understanding and helping to move forwards about who you are and who you will be moving on and moving forwards. That can be about a spiritual path, about connecting to the energy of the dragons, and to be able to feel a sense of peace and calm and understanding for yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. Makes sense? Kind, peaceful, loving space. Cool. Righty-bo. Anybody else? I'm gonna send a message. I'm gonna do a card. Oh, Nicola Gretel Smith. Marvelous. I was just about to suggest that. That's a good. So I do you next. Oh, Kagos. Balance. Oop, here it is. So in the world of dragons, they have a sort of energetic partners, which are the phoenix. And in alchemical processes, the energy of the dragon fire, and that energy of alchemy, of transformation and change, is coming through. So the dragons are seen underneath an alembic, which is kind of like the Merkaba in our energy system. And the fire transforms and it alchemizes and it releases those things that are ready to be released. But when we go through that transformative process, which can be quite challenging, we need somebody to sort of help us out, catch one on the other side. And the phoenix is that energy, and it's seen as above. As above is the phoenix. The tears of the phoenix are seen to be something that's sad, but actually they're a kind of distilled or purified version of ourself. So Kagos is about going through, having gone through that process, a time of thriving and moving forward in a very positive way, in a very dynamic way, of feeling balanced and, or pretty at one with life, in a good state. Does that make any sense, Nicola?
Yes, thank you. I always seem to get balance, but also the fact you just said about the phoenixes, I've been seeing phoenixes in the last couple of days and being drawn to them, so that's also interesting. So great information, thank you.
Good. Yeah, the in Chinese not mythology, but in Chinese tradition, that's the word I was looking for. The dragon and the phoenix, when people get married, the dragon and the phoenix is often a gift that is that comes together, so that they are the balance, the masculine and feminine energies, the yin yang, as those two things come together. Right. I'm just going to see, because people have said, let's see if they want cards. I'm just scrolling through the questions here. Nicola, Claudia. I'm not sure which Claudia, if there's any more than one Claudia, but Claudia. There you are, waving. I can see you now. Let's see what goes on with his one. Oh, yes. I keep doing that all the time. I sound like that dog from the adverts. Oh, yes. I did a talk about soul rescue the other day, talking about lots of different angels, and I kept saying, bless their socks, about these beautiful, divine, infinite, these powerful beings. And I'm not entirely sure that angels even have socks, let alone whether you can bless them or not. Claudia, you have Li'an. Li'an is one of the clans of dragons, about light. It's about justice and great fire. So it could be an illumination of secrets. Sometimes it can be that we are having a challenging time or a difficult time, and we want to be able to see a light path forward or see some thoughts. Li'an dragons can really help to shed light on a subject that we're challenged with. So in meditation, I would or take some 5-10 minutes out of your day to be nice and grounded out in the world, out into the beautiful sunshine that we've got here at the moment, if you're in the UK, and to ask for some illumination on those challenges that you have, some answers to those questions. 2025 is a year connected with Lady Portia, the Lady Ascended Master. She's the energetic overseer of this year, and her energy is all about karmic justice and cosmic justice. So if Ascended Master Presences or Lady Ascended Master Presences are your bag as much as dragons, then you can ask her for some help and guidance as well. But it's all about finding, seeking, and getting justice in the process, whichever that's going to. Does that make any sense for you? So, marvelous. Good. 3 for 3. Evita Victoria, wherever you are. I can't necessarily see you on my screen, but I'm going to pull a card for you. Oh, Nanan. So again, Nanan is about conjoining, about partnership, and this can be about a physical partnership, or it can be about an emotional partnership. The important part of that is about a past life connections, learning more about that. So have you done any past life work?
Yes, I have. And currently I've been getting the message to call back soul parts of myself. So it makes total sense.
Yeah. And that's a great thing. Soul fragment retrieval, which is something that I offer, something that I do for people, is incredible. And I've done it a lot for myself. But one of the things that's really interesting at the moment, this year, the soul fragment retrieval, for in the past that I've done it for about 10 years, the soul fragments that have returned have been from this lifetime. But in the last 6 months, there's been this shift where the soul fragments that have been retrieved have been for all lifetimes. So I've done this as a process for myself about 6-7 times. First time I had 70 pieces. I thought, well, that's pretty good, you know. Then I had a few hundred. Then I had like 6 or 7, and there was one where I had just had one, but it was a really big one. And I see them as fragments of bones that come through in the shamanic practice that I do. And so my familiar Lupus, who is a big wolf, trots off into the shadows, and he comes back with these bones in his mouth. And so I did this for myself in March this year on my birthday, and he came back with 7,500 fragments. That's a lot of bones. I mean, he's
that's a lot. Yeah.
He's a big dude. Bless him. He's a big wolf. But he had this like big medicine bag around his neck and panniers on his back. He looked like a cart horse. But I was like, why is there so many here? And the Merlin, who's my guide in this, he said, because you're getting them back. We're giving them back to people from all lifetimes now to really help with that process of healing. And I felt a big shift and a big move on. So yeah, that past life connection, retrieving soul fragments is a great practice to do as helping. And from that, we don't bring back the trauma or the sadness or the fear or the anxiety of those experiences. We bring back the parts of the fragments that have been stuck there. And so after the process, you can have some really interesting dreams and really interesting meditative experiences, and things that have been dormant for a long time can start to be reactive. It can help to heal our DNA as well. So it can really help with that healing process.
I'm in the process of that. I just don't have a specific ritual or something like that I'm following. I'm doing it completely intuitive. But as I've been keep getting the message, I'm wondering, am I missing something? Am I not doing something yet that I potentially should? Am I missing a sign? Is there anything you potentially receive on that you can point me in the way or not?
I don't. My initial the initial thing that comes through is that following your intuition is wildly important. So above all things, I would say to people, follow their intuition, because we can become so reliant on other people doing things because we assume that they know better. But our intuition knows best. Really, we may not necessarily have the tools, but what my guides are saying for you is that it's part of a process. So you can get some of the bits back. Some of the time, and then when you're ready, you get more back, which is why it's an ongoing process. It's not just a one-time thing. Which is why I started off with a few, and then we're kind of building the resilience of our own energy system up, and then we get to a point where you can go, right, so you can have the full beans now. You can have loads of stuff. But it's a bit like weightlifting. It's a bit like training our bodies, you know, to do those things. We will break through those barriers. But if you it's like this spiritual equivalent of doing a couch to 5K. If you wake up in the morning and go, right, I'm going to run for 5 kilometers, you're going to fall flat on your face and have a wheezing panic attack after about, for me, it would be by the time I got to the back door. But we need to build up that energetic resilience in our energy system. So, there's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's just an evolving process, and things will open up as you move forward.
I wasn't specifically asking if I'm doing something wrong, just if there should be something added to it. But as you already said, I'm right on track. I just need to let it unfold as it is.
And there will be something that's added. It's just going to take a little while till your energy system's ready to do that.
That's fine. We'll see when it comes. Love your vibe, by the way.
Thank you very much. Very kind. Right, who's next? I think Nicola asked if I can have if I do readings and that kind of thing. Yes, absolutely, no problem at all. We can sort that out. Where are we now? Just on Avita. So we're moving on to Eremoth. I don't know if that's my word, 2 words, 2 names, whoever that is. I can't see. Oh, I can see an error moth on my screen. But yeah, so if you're just going to draw that card, if you want to turn your camera on, turn your mic on, and be part of this, then that's fine. If you want to just sit quietly, that's great. Okay, so whatever the question is, whatever the thought is Tiamat's rune. Tiamat's rune is you have free will. You have to believe in yourself. You have infinite possibilities. Trust your intuitions, trust your soul, trust yourself, and take the path that you believe is right. Take some time to meditate on it, take some time to think, and it is your free will and your possibilities. Now, this can be probably the most challenging card in the deck, and it's something that really, really drives me nuts when I was on my path, especially when I was starting out, because I was like always asking Spirit, so what do I do now? Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing it right? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And the answer would always be, you have free will. You have all the information that you need. Crack on and do it yourself. And it would drive me nuts because, well, there are paths. There's 6 or 7 different ways of doing things. Which one do I choose? And they will go, oh, choose the one which suits you best. I was like, oh, could you shut up and just tell me which one to do? It's so unfair. Just someone pick for me. I mean, I'm terrible at restaurants. It takes me half an hour to choose my drink, and I don't even drink alcohol. So I've only really got Coke, Diet Coke, or apple ties to choose from, and I can't really choose. So, but we have to trust in ourselves and trust our intuition and trust our higher selves. We can use spirit as kind of a crutch, or kind of an excuse to do things. And I've had this quite a lot with people when they do something which somebody else doesn't agree with, and they go, "Oh well, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. My guides told me to do it." And there's no difference with that and then having an imaginary friend as a kid and going, "No, I didn't eat all the cake. It was Henry. Henry, my imaginary friend, told me to do it." And so we need to rely on ourselves and take control of the situation, take the power, hold on to that power as well. I hope that makes sense for you, Aramathwe, whoever you are. Next up, Tony Mann. Hi, Tony.
Hi.
Have you got a question?
Yes, I have. I was told a while ago that I was Dragon Fae.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if I can expand on that, or get a bit more information on how I can work with it or something.
Yeah. Okay. Dragon Fae is really, really interesting. I just happen to have an Oracle of the Dragon Fae deck, which I use as part of my reading deck. I don't know if you've seen them before. You got those? Mm-hmm. I love this deck, Lucy Cavendish, and the information that comes through on these is absolutely outstanding. Before the first great enchantment, which was a time where the Fae, the dragons, those dimensional beings worked and lived with us in our same dimensional space that we're in now as human beings, we were connected with them fundamentally. There would be people that were cross-pollination, if you will. So we have the elves and the dwarves and the humans and the people that were half elf and half dwarf and half human, like you do in the video games. And there were dragon fae as well. So there were people that had physical sort of human DNA and energetic connections, as well as the fae, as well as the dragons, to have sort of human dragon fae as well. The dragon fae worked with the dragon energies and with humans, as working to help to really control and work with the green, the nature, the land. And so, as I said before, when I was talking, rabbiting on about being out in the earth, connecting, using and working with the dragons to connect with the devas of the plants and the flowers and the forest and the trees. It's like a sort of triple whammy. So you can connect with the dragons to then connect with the devas of the plants, or you connect with the devas of the plants to connect with the dragons, whichever works really, because they're different but the same vibrational essence. And you can work with crystals as well to connect with them. So in every crystal there's a deva, an energetic being, which is the essence and the vibrational oneness of that particular crystal and energy. So if you're drawn to a crystal, then you can hold that to your heart and ask them to come forward. Using a dragon for protection and guidance is always a great help with that as well. and they can take you off in guided meditation to connect with them. The fairy folk are wonderful. There's the elemental realms of the undines and the gnomes and the salamanders and the air spirits, which I always forget, and I'm very sorry, Peralta, the king of the air spirits, because I always forget what they're called. Sylphs, thank you very much. It's nice that we've got there in the end. So you can connect with their energy as well. The proviso and the little bit of caution I would say with those is being very much aware of the phases of the moon and the phases of the sun, because their nature, the nature of the fairy folk especially, shifts and changes depending on how the phase of the moon is and what time of day it is. So going into the realm of the fairies in the daytime, they tend to be kind and calm and loving, especially dawn and midday. And at dusk, they get a bit frisky and a bit cheeky. And night times, they can be a little capricious and they can be downright nasty, to be honest. They can be a bit mardy and, you know, there's a lovely story where a friend of a friend wanted to connect more with the fairy folk. And so he went out to the local woods. There's a fairy ring just on the meadow next to the woods. And he sat in that at dusk. And he asked the fairy folk what he should do to connect more deeply with them. And they said, they came forward as a little group, and one of the groups said that they needed him to paint his face blue, because it was the woad is a very sacred symbol, and he needed to paint his face blue and come to them on the next full moon with a blue face, and they'd show him some secrets and some knowledge and some understanding. So he went out, bless him, he took it very seriously, and he learnt how to take the plants and break them all down and get the dye. And obviously woad doesn't come off very easily once you've painted it on. So he turned up, and he was a businessman as well in his normal everyday life, so he was quite, you know, important in the 3D world, in the physical world. So he painted his face blue, and he turned up at this fairy ring on the full moon at dusk and asked the fairies to come forward and talk to him and show the secrets. And all they did was get up in front of him and absolutely wet themselves laughing and pointed at him, because he'd done something so monumentally stupid as to paint his face blue. And his face was blue for a good 3 or 4 weeks because he just couldn't get the dye off. So sometimes it's a good to, I mean, you know, it's a great life lesson to learn about not to take ourselves too seriously, which is what he did. But it's also, yeah, a little bit of a proviso to just be careful and cautious about that. Did I actually get a card out for you? I can't remember.
No, not yet.
All right, cool. I just got sidetracked by fairies.
As they
As they do, yeah. As they do. Oh, okay. Dracanael. Dracanael is about creativity. The Dracanael actually is the angel of dragons, so even the dragons have an angelic realm and consciousness. It's about creativity and community. So one of the ways of connecting could be, are you a creative person? Do you like making things and doing little things like that?
I do, but I create more with the greenery, gardens, and things like that.
Yeah, so doing that, having kind of outdoor altar for them as well can be nice, to create a little space in the garden that's dedicated to them, the dragons as well as the fairy folk. If you want to invite them into the garden, little offerings are really nice. They like some honey and milk mixed up, left outside. They're a big fan of anything sweet and chocolatey. Now, one of the things not to do, which is something I've done as well, is to leave a little offering of a Mars bar, which I did once for my fairy friends. And what they do is, because they can't feast on the actual physical thing, they feast on the energy of it. So the day after, I saw this lovely Mars bar there, and I was thinking, oh, that's a bit of a waste. They've had the energy from it. I'm going to eat the actual Mars bar, because, you know, why would you waste a Mars bar? Even though it's been outside all night, I'm sure it'll be fine. There's a hedgehog weed on it or something, but it was unlikely. So I had a mouthful of this Mars bar, and it was the most god-awful ashen tasting thing, because all of the energy had gone from it. The fairy folk had it, and they just... So I had a mouthful of Mars bar ash, which is horrible. But again, a lesson to me for not actually nicking something off other people. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Okay, I've kind of run out of time, so I'm just going to get the wind up. I'm just going to flick through some of the questions. If anyone else has other questions moving on, then you can drop me a line on social media or WhatsApp and stuff, and I'll answer any of these questions here. I'm glad that I'm getting some nice positive feedback. People can book readings with me on the website. I do one-to-ones live on Zoom or recorded, pre-recorded card pulls. Let me just go through the booklet. Yes. So the question here is, does the booklet contain more deeper descriptions? So yeah, you get about 600-700 words on them. And one of the important things about any booklet is you get to know them, and then you get your own meanings as well. But there are meanings in the booklet about each of the cards to get you going on the way, a decent way, so you can do some readings for people and that type of thing. Was there a time period when the elves and dragons coexisted? Yes, absolutely right. Before the first charm, before the first spell, when they moved themselves. I used to think that they left us, but actually now I think that we left them. Our energy dipped low quite quickly, and they couldn't hold that vibration. Right, I am going to shut my face.
Thank you so much, Kieron. I can't wait to get my hands on one of those decks. So I've just shared your website again. So
thank you very much.
You can get on your mailing list and see when it's available. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, everyone. Thank you, and apologies to anyone I didn't get to that missed out. Do get in touch, and thank you for your time. Thanks again to you, Nicola and Kev, for what you do. I think it's awesome, and I hope everyone has a great time for the rest of the Dragon Thunder Summit. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you for journeying with us today on the English Mystic Podcast, Dragon Thunder Summit 2025 edition. This is just one voice, one frequency in a greater dragon symphony, each echoing across the earth right now. If you felt the stir in your heart, if you heard a whisper from your dragon allies, then the work is beginning. Be sure to explore all 36 epic speakers and their transmissions by heading over to the website www.dragonthunder2025.com, where the portal is open. Until next time, walk boldly with your dragons, speak your truth like fire, and may your path be guided by the ancient winds. Stay mystical, stay wild, stay dragon aligned. This is the English Mystic. See you next time.
In the realm where spirits dance, where dragons soar with fiery glance, a song of power, strength untold, for human hearts, for young and old. Wings that span the starry night, scales that gleam with ancient light. Dragons rise, guardians bold, tales of healing, tales untold. Almighty ones, wise and grand, protectors of this sacred land. With breath of fire, a timeless art, they heal and mend each wounded heart. Through shadows deep and forests wide, they guide us with a noble stride. In the dance of life, a sacred chance to heed the call of dragon trance. Scale by scale, a shield they weave. In the moonlit night, their magic breathe. Whispers of protection, strong and true. In the realm where dreams come true. So gather round, O kin of earth. Let the dragon's melody give birth to healing streams and fiery light, as we journey through the shaman's night. O dragons, ancient and divine, your friendship like the stars will shine in the tapestry of life. A song we weave with spirits, dragons, hearts believe.